Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan. This is Auto Detour. Today we're getting started on episode 3 of the turbo grandpa truck build. So if you haven't watched the other videos, this is my 2003 F150 5.4 liter four-wheel drive Super Crew F150. As you may know, I'm putting a 76mm turbo with a 4-inch intercooler and everything that goes along with that underneath the hood of this thing, so it kind of looks like a sleeper grandpa truck. Call it what you want, but it sure has been a lot of fun. So got a lot of stuff planned for today's video, taking out all the stops, bringing up all the parts. So today Eric from RacingRamFam is coming over. He's going to help me cut the crossover pipe, get it welded. We're going to get that other stud out of the head. We still have a broken off exhaust stud in the head. After we're done with that, we're going to start fitting up the intercooler and the intercooler piping. I also need to take off all of the hot side so that I can get it sent off to be ceramic coated, because we got so many hot pipes running through the engine compartment. I'd like to get them ceramic coated to keep the temperatures down in the engine compartment. So got a lot of stuff to do today. So Eric should be coming over here shortly. He's going to be helping me do the cutting and the welding on that crossover pipe, as well as offering his mechanic expertise as we move along through the project here. He's bringing over Venom. Venom is his SRT10 Ram. He has done a home-built 96mm Borg-Warner turbo. So that thing is absolutely ridiculous. So if you haven't checked out my last video where we went down and did a photo shoot, he went and did a giant burnout and just totally annihilated his rear tires. So if you're into that sort of thing, go check out that last video. You won't be disappointed. So let's get started. I'm really happy to continue to dig further into the grandpa truck turbo build. I hope you guys are too. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, so here's our crossover pipe. We made our first surgical modification.
We cut it.
We cut it.
So we got the manifolds tight on there. So we're gonna get this guy bolted on, and then we are going to cut a chunk. I don't know where you put it, but
we got some scrap pipe over here.
We'll clean it up, of course. It won't look like that, but we'll clean it up, and then we'll add a section to this because, again, this was off like 3/4 of an inch. So we cut it right at a straight piece. So all we have to do is add a little bit of straight, which is probably like that much. So right now we're gonna bolt this guy back in, get it all hooked up, get it all lined up, and then we'll cut that piece out, tack weld it in, get it welded in pretty good, probably under the truck, and then finish welding it outside of the truck. But yeah, that's probably the next step.
Yeah, so there you have it, the first cut to the kit. So it's no longer a out-of-the-box kit. So we'll get it welded up and I'll show you guys how that looks here in a second and give you the exact measurement that we came up with to lengthen that for you guys. All right, there we go. That's the piece. We got it all mounted up here. Oh, so that's the amount of gap there. I'm gonna hop out of here and measure this piece for you so you guys know exactly how much you have to extend the crossover pipe to fit the 5.4 liter. So let me roll out of here. Okay, so looks like we are exactly, wow, that's exactly 1.5 inches.
Oh, I called it.
Nice, good call. We were taking bets. Eric guessed 1.5 inches, and he was correct. So there you go. You gotta lengthen the crossover pipe, cut 1.5 inches. This is 2.5 inch pipe. He's gonna tack it up, then we'll pull the whole thing out and get it all welded up completely around and make it look kind of nice. So there we go. Eric got her all tacked up. So we'll get it pulled out of the truck here so we can clean up the welds. We got it up in there. Get it all lined up on my side here. Just like that. So we're lined up there.
Yep, I'm lined up too.
Eric's all lined up over here. Can you grab that? You see,
Yep, you can see where the V-band clamps all lined up, where my hand's holding it. So you guys can see where we add that 1.5 inches of piping right there that we MIG welded in. I'm not a professional, I'm a mechanic, not a welder, so.
But it looks pretty dang good. So there you have it, 1.5 inch.
Onto our crossover pipe.
Added to the crossover pipe. So next step, Eric's gonna we're gonna
get that last bolt extracted out of the head because we only could get one. If you guys remember from the last video, we only got the one out. But this time we got my welder, so we should be able to get the other one. So we gotta take this side header off. We're gonna have to take that side header off.
Yeah.
And then Ryan's planning on either wrapping them or ceramic coating them just for heat. So they're gonna be off for that too.
Yep, so we're gonna hop up here. Oops. Oh, like I said, I need a lift. So unfortunately, that means we gotta take the turbo off.
Here's the crossover pipe, all welded up. Pretty good for a MIG welder, welding steel to stainless steel, so.
Yeah, looks pretty dang good.
Perfect, but again, this is gonna be either wrapped or ceramic coated, I think, too.
Yep, so. Looks great. And then I've already started pulling the turbo off so we can get the turbo manifold off the engine. Stacking pieces over here. But yeah, making progress. That was a big piece of the puzzle. Really happy to get that done. So we're gonna keep cranking away here and we'll keep you updated as we go. Eric got that last broken off stud out of there using the welder. And I showed that technique in the first video, so you guys can go check that out if you're interested in how to pull broken off exhaust manifold studs out of the aluminum head. Basically, Eric just used a welder to weld onto the stud and then cranked it out with some vice grips. So we're really tearing into stuff here. We got the grill off. We're working on getting this intercooler mounted up. So the intercooler bracket on the bottom mounts, we're just mocking it up right now, but you got to take off the tow hooks and the bracket goes under the tow hook mounts. So once we get that all finalized, we'll get the tow hooks back on there. Now my bumper must be different than the older style bumper as far as mounts go, because this top bracket for the intercooler doesn't line up with anything under here, but it's fitting up very nicely behind the bumper. There's plenty of space for it here, even with the various coolers we have back here. I think we got a transmission cooler, engine oil cooler here, transmission cooler over here, and those are not in the way, so those can stay in their stock location. You can see the intercooler behind this lower valence here. Looks really sweet. It's gonna be kind of one of those cool touches that only people that know what they're looking for are gonna notice it. And of course, we got to leave the license plate off so we can see it. So what we're gonna do, I think, is just go ahead and we're gonna drill some holes through this bracket here with some spacers to go ahead and bolt this top bracket up to this, whatever this support piece is called. So we're gonna just drill through it, put some spacers in there so we can bolt this top bracket to it, and that'll support the top side of the intercooler. We're now working on mounting up the coolant hard lines so we can get all our lines mounted up here.
Now we're about to do the cold side of the intercooler piping, going from the intercooler here up to the throttle body, and then after he gets his stuff ceramic coated or wrapped or whatever, we can do the hot side of the intercooler stuff, running from the turbo to the intercooler. But we can't really do the hot side yet because he needs to get his stuff coated before we permanently mount stuff. So yeah, right now we're just mounting the radiator piping for the coolant, and then we're gonna run that cold side piping. Anyway,
That's where we're at, making lots of progress. It's really coming together nicely. A few things need to be modified, obviously, but that was expected. So we're gonna keep cranking here and I'll show you where we're at when we end for today. So Eric and I were just talking about this bracket here. I think maybe instead of doing spacers, Eric had the idea of getting this bracket put in a bending brake or in the vise so that we can bend it up to meet up with this here and then bend it back flat again on the end so we can just bolt it directly to this. That'd be a little support. Yeah, to the grill support. That'll be a sturdier way to bolt it up rather than having spacers in there that would probably flex back and forth. So we got that. I am happy to report that we have the hard lines for the coolant. Those all fit perfectly. We do not need to extend the intake pipe coming up from the intercooler. Everything there matched up just fine. And the reason I say that is I mentioned before that the 5.4 is approximately an inch taller than the 4.6. So we were thinking maybe we'd have to extend one of these, but it's not looking like we're gonna have to do that. So that's nice. Looks really cool to see all this piping in here now. We're gonna wait on the not the hot side. We're gonna wait on the side coming from the turbo because I don't have a turbo here to match it up with.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna mount right up just because everything else mounted up, so.
Yeah.
Plus you got play in these rubber couplers that, like even you can see this one, like you can move these however you want. You rotate them. They give you a lot of room to make stuff move around, so I think that'll fit just right up. I'm not worried about that. I think all the cold side intercooler stuff's just gonna bolt right up. And then this is the funkiest radiator like hose ever. It's like down and over and up. Yeah. Hopefully you don't have a big air bubble in there.
So it's got this big dip in it because the turbo is gonna sit right here.
The turbo sits like right there.
And so it's made to dip under the turbo. But without the turbo in there, it looks a little silly. But yeah, everything's on this side. The cold side seems to be matching up just fine. So big thank you again to Eric for coming over and helping me with this. If you haven't already, subscribe to his channel. He'll be at 800 by tomorrow, I'm sure. He's 2 away right now. So be sure to subscribe to his channel. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to follow along with the turbo grandpa truck build, or if you want to see me do some crazy weird stuff in the Viper, or I have my V10 S8 over in the garage across the street. So
2004 Dodge Ram SRT10 that I fully built the motor in, fully built the transmission, rear end, whatever.
Okay, let's open up the garage. It's sitting out in the driveway.
Well, that's gotta go back under the knife.
If you guys want to see a real turbocharged truck. So here's Venom. It's going to be, the goal is 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, after the fuel system. Probably not till next year, but yeah.
Yeah, so
this year it's just getting all the bugs figured out because I did build the whole entire turbo setup. There was no kits for these trucks, so everything's hand built. And there's just a lot of stuff that I'm having to redo. So one thing that I'm really bummed and why it has to go back under the knife is because of my wastegate placement. It's too far away from my turbo, so I'm getting a giant boost surge. But after that, we should be pretty golden, but we can pop the hood.
Yeah. Now, my camera never does your turbo any justice, size-wise, because...
Should we go grab your turbo and hold it up to it?
Yeah, we should. So, if you can't tell, this thing's massive. That is a 5-inch?
Yep, down pipe.
5-inch down pipe, which is just bonkers.
It's a 96 millimeter Borg Warner SX400 off of Summit Racing, journal bearing. But the truck is a 2004 Dodge Ram SRT10, so it does have the 8.3 liter Viper V10 in it. This is a new one because the original one I shot a rod through the side of the block, and that's sitting in my garage if you guys haven't seen any videos of that. But I do have a video of that blown up on the dyno because too much boost for stock rods. But this motor's been very good to me so far. It's stock motor, it's got Cali rods, forged pistons. Other than that, everything else is about stock with it, besides the giant turbo that pushes about 9 pounds of boost right now. And we're just getting the boost surge figured out, and then we'll probably be around 11 or 12 when we get on the drag strip, and that should be close to probably 900 horsepower. I don't know. It was making about 700 wheel horsepower on 7 psi, so if you guys can do the math, I don't know what it's going to make, but I'll probably have to go back on the dyno when I put the fuel system in it, the bigger cam in it, and shoot for that 1,000 wheel horsepower mark,
which is going to be ridiculous. So he's racing to get the bugs worked out of it. I mean, it's running incredible right now, just having that boost surge issue.
Yeah, it's not healthy for the turbo. I mean, it works, it doesn't overboost, it doesn't do anything. It's just when you get up to full boost, it hits 9.7 pounds, and you can just hear it fluctuating back and forth. And again, that's probably because of my wastegate placement, because you don't see there's a wastegate around here, which there will be one right here coming up in my next videos. I'm placing it here. And then, I haven't told anyone this yet, but Ryan, there's gonna be a little exhaust pipe coming out right here from the little guy that we're mounting right there, so we should see some flames when we get under some boost.
So he's gonna exit his wastegate out the fender, so that's gonna be really ridiculous.
We're gonna do a chrome tip, so it looks classy.
Be a flamethrower out the fender there. So yeah, like I said, subscribe to his channel, keep up to date. You know, obviously he does all his own work, which is awesome, and really fun to follow along and watch somebody actually do their own work. So if you guys haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye-bye.